Real estate agents, this is why you should buy your followers on social media. I'm going to explain because it's probably not the way you're thinking about. If you don't know me, my name is Jarvis. I run Jarvis Media Consolidated, a marketing company that helps real estate agents grow massively. Here are some of our stats down below over the past year or so. And so I'm going to dive into why you should consider buying your followers and also explaining the method behind the madness here. So we're going to walk through audience versus followers, the difference there, the purpose of followers, how they actually help you, 3 ways that you can acquire followers, why you should buy followers, and tactics for utilizing those followers and how best to accumulate those for the best amount of time spent and budget spent. So let's jump into it today, guys. Why you should buy followers. So I'm going to first level the playing field here because a lot of us have misconceptions about social media, and it doesn't really help that there's like a ton of guru people out there who talk about all these things that don't really make a difference because, if you're new to this channel, the whole purpose of the content that we make here is how to utilize social media as a marketing stream for your business. We're not talking about becoming influencers. We're not talking about building a brand that's going to help you sell some kind of like course or something. We're talking about how to take your business as a real estate agent and leverage the power of social media as a marketing asset to help you help more clients and get you more business for your real estate agency, basically, for your real estate brand. That is what we're talking about today. So when we talk about your audience versus your followers, it's really important to differentiate these two. So your followers is simply a number of people who have clicked a button That's ultimately what followers are at its actual core. Followers are people who clicked a button that said follow you or subscribe to you or whatever, or like the page if it's on like Facebook. So like that is all a follower actually is, right? And an audience are the people who frequently see your content. Now, a lot of times people think that their audience is their followers or their audience is their subscribers. Now, it's one of those things where it's like rectangle versus square, right? So your followers can be part of your audience, but your followers does not equal your audience, if that makes sense, right? Your audience is bigger than just your followers. And a lot of times, a lot of your followers are not actually part of your audience. We've all seen this. If you've been in the business for a while, if you've had a page for a while, let's say you have 1,000, 2,000 followers, right? How many views do you get on average per your videos? You're right? Probably not that many. And even if it is the same number or higher, a vast majority of those are going to be new people, not necessarily all your followers. And the reason it's important to explain this is because it used to be like email marketing, right? Social media used to be very akin to email marketing where basically you have this email database, right? And you send a message out and all the people who are part of your database, they see that message, right? Well, that's no longer the case. Basically now we use algorithms more heavily, right? We all know about algorithms, but a lot of us don't really understand exactly how they work. So now basically you make a piece of content, let's make this like a little video, right? And you put it into the algorithm. I'll do a little F here for Facebook, just as an example. And then Facebook determines how we get in front of different audiences. And it's also important to know that you should replace the word audience with viewers whenever you're thinking about how to, win on the algorithm or how to get your content viewed more often. Just because all the algorithm is doing is finding the people who are going to be most likely, most interested in your content, and how do we give them that content and not give it to people who aren't interested. So a lot of times real estate agents get upset about the algorithm. They're like, oh, I talked to somebody the other day. They're like, I'm making amazing content. Like my content is incredible. I'm spending all this money. I'm spending all this time. My content is great. It's got the best information. And for some reason, it's just not getting seen on the platform. The algorithm's job for the business, it's integral for the business objectives of Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. The job is to get that content in front of the right people for that platform. Because if they watch the right content, if they view the stuff that they're interested in, they'll stay on the platform longer, the platform will make more money. So it's in the social media platform's interest to get your content in front of the people who will enjoy it. If you're not getting in front of a lot of people who enjoy it, or you're not getting a lot of people that your content is getting in front of, it's because there's not a lot of people who are going to enjoy it, which is good. It tells us, cool, we need to fix something. It doesn't help us to say, oh, boo-hoo, the algorithm hates me. It doesn't. It just, you're not putting out the content that is registering with your audience. And another important note here, before I'm diving into the weeds here, is that your content itself is not necessarily bad if it's not getting in front of a lot of people. It's just that, one, you're competing with a lot of different industries. You're not just competing against other real estate agents. And also, your content might be more niche by design, and that's a good thing, right? So don't get too upset if your content's not getting in front of people. Anyway, I digress. Our audience are the people who see our content, right? So that is not the exact same as our followers. And so the followers are just the number of people who clicked a button, and our audience are the people who actually see our content. Oftentimes we think our followers are our audience, but it's not exactly black and white like that. So that asks the question, okay, Cole, well, I understand that my followers are not the same thing as my audience, so what's the purpose of my followers? If it doesn't necessarily help me to have a lot of followers, and I've worked with a lot of people who have a lot of followers that they accumulated over the past 10 years, and none of them are seeing their content now, right? Because you still have to, that's another note, you still have to earn every single view. That's the thing that's making it harder for businesses nowadays, especially real estate agents. Even if you have a lot of followers, you have to earn every view all the time. Again, unlike an email database, it used to be that you have to work hard to get the email database, and then once you have all those people, they will see your content, right? They might not open it, but it's been delivered to them. Nowadays, it might not get delivered to them if you haven't earned it, right? If the algorithm doesn't deem your content to be beneficial to the folks who could possibly receive it, it won't send it to them. It will send them other stuff. There's no shortage of content on these platforms. So what is the purpose of followers if it doesn't guarantee us viewership? Well, as a business, there is a lot of benefit to followers. Followers help credibility. And why is this important? Because if you're a real estate agent, you're competing against 1,000 other real estate agents in your market. So it's almost more important to be different than it is to be better. There are a lot of agents, real estate agents, who are amazing and probably help their clients more than the average agent, and probably are much more thoughtful and much more helpful than some of the top agents in that market. But that agent might not be good at marketing. I used to always say, I grew up playing guitar, and I used to always say, I bet the best guitarist out there is completely unknown because they spend all of their time practicing. They don't go out and even play shows, or they don't go out and market themselves. They're spending all their time practicing. That's why they're probably the best. And the same thing happens with a lot of real estate agents who are really great. They just don't have a good marketing apparatus, so nobody knows that they're very good. And so followers help us with our credibility because essentially a couple different reasons. But one, nothing draws a crowd like a crowd. It's one of my favorite quotes from P.T. Barnum. And if you have a large followership, that gives the audience permission to take you more seriously. If you see content from somebody with 100 followers and content from somebody with 100,000 followers, who are you more likely to stop and listen to? The person with 100,000 followers. It might be the exact same content. It might be the exact same phrasing of the content and the same actual medium, platform, and the same way that it's been made. It might be the exact same video, right? But if you're on the platform with more credibility, that gives more reason for someone to invest their time to watch your content. And every bit of effort is needed here to get your content viewed because it's an incredibly competitive landscape. That's why so many real estate agents struggle with social media. So followers help with our credibility. That's super important. And followers do also likely get us in front of an audience. The thing is, it's just that it's not guaranteed and it's not a one-to-one like it used to be, right? So if you have more followers, on average, you should get more views, but it's just not a one-to-one thing, right? So that's the purpose of the followers in the sense of being a real estate agent. The best benefit of followers is the credibility and the differentiation that it gives you versus your competition. If your entire competition in your market has 1,000, 2,000 followers and you have 100,000 followers, you will have a competitive advantage, at least in social media, but we'll take it because we need every advantage we can get in this kind of an industry. So cool. Now that we talked about that, let's talk about the only 3 ways that you can get followers. The only 3 ways that you can get followers: organic, And this is how all of us think about followers. This is pretty much the only way we think that you can get followers is organic, right? This just means you put out a lot of content and people go out of their way to say, you know what? I want to go follow this person. I'm going to make a concerted effort to follow this page. I'm going to go to their page, find the follow button, click that, and that's what I'm going to do because I like this content so much. That's great. The other way is probably what a lot of people think I'm going to be talking about today, which is bots, okay? Bots are a terrible way to accumulate followers, but technically you are accumulating followers, right? It's just that they're not helpful at all, and they actually are against these platforms' regulations, so we don't like that, right? We don't want to necessarily focus on that because it doesn't help us and it actually hurts us, in my opinion. The next is through ads. Now, ads is what we're going to be talking most about today. Not because it's inherently better objectively, but because it tends to be better for most real estate agents. And let me explain why. Here's why you should buy followers. And when I say buy followers, I'm kind of being facetious there. In reality, we're running ads for followers. And the difference is that when you buy followers, like somebody reaches out to you on Instagram and you say, oh yeah, I'll pay, $50 for 50,000 followers, right? That's somebody who has a bot farm or, maybe some kind of automated thing that is against Facebook's or Instagram or any social media platforms terms of service, right? So really bad because it puts you on the bad list and you'll probably get your account taken down. And at very least, it's a waste of marketing money that could be used in a different way. And then also it hurts you because then it's going to kind of mess up your algorithm, right? It's going to a lot of times those accounts are based out in India or somewhere. And so it will affect your distribution and the platform might try to send you to more folks who are in India. Now, eventually that should probably correct itself because algorithms are smart, but it still doesn't help us, right? And it only hurts us. It takes away marketing dollars and it doesn't actually help us get in front of people who actually matter, right? So bots, big no-go. But when I say when you buy followers, I mean really why you should advertise using ads for followers. The reason why we should do this is because your time costs money. And also, we are in the most competitive social media landscape that we've ever been in. So, on one hand, your time costs money. If you wanted to spend every single day just trying to make the best content in the world, right? And you spend all of your time basically becoming a straight up, full-time YouTuber, and you're just trying to make as much content as possible to try and get as many subscribers as possible or as many followers on Instagram or Facebook or whatever as possible. If you wanted to do that, it would take you your time. And that's time you could be doing other marketing activities. And so it's important to know that, of course, in business, and you should know this probably, is that time equals money. Not directly, and it depends on how much money you're making and how much experience you have will change the value there, right? It might be X time equals 2X money, whatever. But to the point, they are convertible. Time is convertible into money, and money is convertible into time, right? It's just the ratio that changes. So if you're spending all your time making a bunch of amazing content that people love, and then you're testing it, and you're trying new things, and you're spending all day with ideas, and you're just, you're networking with people to make other videos, and you're kind of collaborating, that's great. But that's a bunch of time that we don't have to grow your actual business, because we're just focusing on getting followers for followers' sake, right? And that's the difference between being a business on social and a creator, right? Or an influencer. You might think, okay, why do these people have all these followers? Because that's their day job. That's what they're actually trying to do all day long. You are not trying to get followers. You're trying to use social media and get listings and cold outreach and help your clients in the best way possible and go to listing appointments. And you're trying to run a business. Their whole business is how to get more followers. So that's the difference. And that's why you shouldn't compare yourself to an influencer or a creator on a platform, because it's not a one-to-one. For one, you have different ways of making money than them. And also, they have way more time focused on just one narrow thing than you do. So that's why you shouldn't feel bad that you don't have a ton of followers like influencers do. But you also just don't have the time. It just doesn't make sense for you to invest that kind of time. So we don't have the time to invest all day to make the most content possible. So instead, what if we leverage something we do have a little bit more of? And I know you might be thinking, well, I'm a real estate agent who's just starting out. Maybe I make $50,000 a year. That's okay. We don't need a lot of money. But money, especially in business, but also on socials, can replace time. And what this looks like, if we're really talking about ads for followers, here's the trick here, okay? And again, people have many different misconceptions about this, but this is what it actually looks like, right? In the organic way, you make content. You need people to go to your page. Here's your little page here with your information and then some of your past videos. And then they need to hit the follow button, right? So you need to just make content and then hope people, and this is where people say, oh, follow and like and subscribe, which I don't really recommend people make content that does that because it's not effective and it's also, it feels salesy. You should be focusing on other things with your content if you're a real estate agent. That is the funnel for getting ads organically. Or sorry, for getting followers organically, excuse me. When you make an ad to get followers, here's the difference. You make a piece of content just like you did with organic, except, when we make an ad, suddenly we have this little button here. Now, what does this little button do? This little button says, follow. And so what you do is you make it easier for people to follow you. They still need to like your content and say, yeah, I want to follow this person, just like an organic follower. Except now you've made the process easier. You have skipped the whole phase of having to then click on your page, wait for that to load, go to your page, find the follow button, and then hit follow. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but you have to think every time somebody does that, they have to choose to go to your page and follow you over swiping by and seeing a guaranteed awesome video. Because if you've ever been on TikTok or Instagram Reels or Facebook Reels, the next amazing, super entertaining piece of content is literally one thumb scroll away. So the offer of having somebody go to your page and follow you is really much less convincing than it is for them to just swipe and go see more content. That's why it's hard to get followers, especially as somebody making business content, not just trying to make the most entertaining content possible. And so when you make an ad, you skip the pipeline a bit and you just give them a faster way to follow you. And not only that, that is the most important part. Well, what I should say, that's the first part. The second part is that the ad will learn who to target. So when you put out a piece of organic content, all the content's job is to get in front of people who want to view the content, right? But if we're making an ad, if you've ever made an ad before, you have to make what's called an objective. And the objective is for people to follow you. So, knowing that, the ad is aware that the goal is to get more people to follow you. So instead of just sending it out to a bunch of people just to, see who is interested in it, the ad will say, did this person follow or did they not follow? And it's like, this person didn't follow. Well, let's not target that kind of person anymore. Next person, did they follow or did they not follow? That person also didn't follow. Okay, let's not target that person anymore, or people like that anymore. This person in this demographic with these kinds of interests, that person did follow them. Okay, that's awesome. How do we target more people on the platform using our insane amount of data that Facebook has been collecting from us for the past 20 years to find other folks who are interested in this kind of content who we know will all be follows? And that is why ads are so effective on social media platforms, and honestly, Facebook especially, in my opinion. I'm a little biased. That is why, because what we're doing is we're taking a little bit of money and we're transposing it so that we can actually compete with growing followers like the people who are just spending all of their time asset. It's just about utilizing your assets, guys. So a lot of times I talk to folks and they say, I don't know. I don't want to get a bunch of fake followers. Well, what's a fake follower? Are you referring to a bot? Because if you're referring to a bot, then yeah, I totally agree. You shouldn't do that. If you don't want to use ads to get followers, the question becomes, okay, why is that? Because the difference of somebody who bought or who hit the like button, who hit the follow button in your ad and who hit the follow button on your page is nothing. They're just people. You're just using a better medium. It's like, how do I want to get to the grocery store? Do I want to take a bicycle or do I want to take a Lamborghini? Well, they have different advantages and different attributes, but the Lamborghini will get you there faster. And so if we're in a business and we are low on time, but we're high on marketing dollars, and I don't mean a lot of money, you can run these kinds of campaigns for $100 a month. So that's like $3 a day. So just don't get a Starbucks and maybe run that instead. These are just some tactics. You don't have to do anything, of course, but this is just some of the ways to understand these different follower tactics that you can utilize if you want to leverage social media in these different ways. So ultimately, I hope that helps explain the concept, but now let me talk about some tactics here. So there are different platforms that allow you to do this. Unfortunately, not every platform allows you to do this, and this may break your heart. Here are the platforms that allow you to run these kinds of ads. Facebook's, I don't know why we decided to make that plural. Facebook. LinkedIn allows you to do this too. And TikTok. Now, I'm not super familiar with TikTok's cost of doing this because I haven't run these in a long time. But generally, I think it's going to be kind of medium in terms of cost. LinkedIn, all advertising on LinkedIn tends to be more expensive just because you're getting in front of a more targeted audience. Facebook is very cheap to do this. And for some reason, everyone in the real estate world that I talk to discredits Facebook. But the thing is, Facebook has 300 million active users in the US. Do you think one of those 300 million people might be a potential client for you? I think so. So let's not discount it because maybe it's an older platform. Guess what? Old people can buy houses. A lot of young people can't. So, you might not like it as much. You might not spend as much time on it, but it's a very credible platform. And the thing is, you can get follower ads for pretty darn cheap there. And TikTok generally is a little bit in the middle, and then LinkedIn is more. Now, here's the benefit, though. If you are a commercial real estate agent, I think LinkedIn's the play, right? Because you're getting in front of business owners, and you're more B2B than you are B2C. But if you're a residential real estate agent or broker, then I think Facebook is the play. TikTok, I'm not as much of a fan of it. I think TikTok's actually a great platform for organic because the chance of getting high targetability is higher, mostly just because there's less competition on the platform, honestly. There's nothing that secret about TikTok. It's really just that there's less competition. But I probably would put all my attention either to Facebook if I was residential or LinkedIn if I was commercial. But guys, I'm telling you, it is kind of insane. So, for instance, we've done this for a lot of clients before. And here's what's cool is for about now this is all Facebook. We haven't done this for commercial real estate agents on LinkedIn. So just so you know, but for Facebook, for $5 a day, we've gotten as many as 10,000 followers per month. Now, huge caveat here, that is targeting a worldwide audience. And guess who is in a worldwide audience? People not in the US. You might be saying, well, Cole, I don't work with people not in the US. Well, actually, you don't work with anybody outside of your market, really, unless there's somebody who's coming to your market, which kind of means they're in your market, right? So it's not even that you don't work with people who are outside of the US, you probably don't work with really anyone in the US other than your one little microcosm of people. But remember that the purpose, the biggest benefit of followers for us, business owners, real estate agents, right, is the credibility that they provide. So this is where that what's called social proof. When you have a lot of followers on your page or a lot of engagement on your page, and that gives people more reason to listen to you, it gives you more credibility, that is a powerful tool in social media marketing. That doesn't exist in a lot of other traditional forms of marketing, but in social media marketing, it's big. So we want to focus on that. But 10,000 followers a month from a worldwide audience is awesome, right? Now, here's the thing, and this is the part that's tricky for a lot of people. That worldwide audience, guess what? 1 billion people are from, 1 billion people live in India. Okay? It's like an eighth of the population lives in India. Are you going to get a lot of Indian people? Yes, you are. There's nothing inherently wrong about that. But a lot of times what's tricky is that then it starts to look like you have a lot of bot followers. Luckily, there's a super easy fix for this. When you're creating an ad, one of the biggest benefits is that you can target, right? You can't target nearly really at all with organic. With ads, you can target. So guess what? If you're like, hey, you know what? I want to get a lot of followers, but I don't want to have it, I don't want to look like it's a bunch of bots, right? Well, then you can take some countries that that bots often are from, and you can get rid of that. By the way, so you can untarget these countries, and these are some of the big ones: India, Vietnam, Brazil, sometimes Philippines, a lot of southeastern Asian countries are kind of fall under this. You can just distarget them or detarget them. That's totally fine, and then you can run it to everybody else. Or if you want to have only people in the U.S. or maybe like U.S. and Canada, we're really just preference at this point. But if you want to do that, that's totally fine. You can target just the US and Canada, or you can target just the US. But what's going to happen is, because now you're not going to 8 billion people anymore. Now you're going to 350, 400 million in the US. So what's going to happen? Smaller target size, you're going to have to get less. You're going to have to either pay more for the same result, or you're going to pay the same amount and you're going to get fewer numbers, right? It's totally up to you. We've run campaigns where we've gotten people 5,000, not a dollar, but 5,000 followers just from the US and Canada when we've run these kinds of things. And that's great. That's a lot of social proof. That'll still help you stand out after a couple months. Spending $5 a day, help you stand out. Now, this depends on how good you are at making ads, but really at the end of the day, all it means is that just check your ads every day. Just make 5 different versions of videos, put them on your ads, and then run that and see how that works. And if you're going to start to find ones that work better than others, get rid of the ones after a week that don't work and replace it with ones that do work. I'm sure I'll make a tactical video doing exactly this in the future. So, obviously it helps to keep track of the channel for that reason. But there's a lot you can do with this, guys. And ultimately, I think a lot of businesses are kind of kicking themselves in the foot when they say, I only want to have organic followers. It's really tough to compete with the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnsons of the world, or Mr. Beast, or people whose job it is, or a massive part of their job is to be an influencer. It's really hard to compete in that market when you're a real estate agent who's got a billion other things to worry about, right? So I would leverage social media and all of its different tools and utilize the best fit for you. And maybe that means investing a little bit of your marketing spend into building your platform so that you're more credible, right? Now, again, you can't do this on every platform, but I think between Facebook, LinkedIn, and possibly TikTok, you can take advantage of this. And so I hope this is helpful, guys. Let me know if you have questions down below, and don't be afraid of running ads to get some better results and saving yourself time so that you can use that time to better help your clients or get more clients. Hope that helps. Bye.